Hi guys, welcome to Yesterday's Coffee, the podcast where we chat about fitness, nutrition, and business all over coffee that may or may not have been brewed yesterday. And today we are going to give you what you've been wanting, which is a taste test.
We're turning this into a food show. I think this is Alexa's
This is the direction that I've been wanting us to go for a year now.
Yeah, so think of this as kind of our first episode before we hit Food Network. Because I think that's where we're going from here.
Absolutely. That's where we're headed.
So what are we taste testing today, Alexa?
First, I did want to briefly chat about
we'll get into the specifics
something
later,
important. Okay, fine. Okay, I guess. So we're going to taste the Impossible Burger today.
Yeah.
So the burger that we chatted about in our last podcast, which if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. This is the taste test of the Impossible Burger. I went to Keystone today, so after doing some research to find out where you could get one of these burgers, which actually is more widespread than I thought.
Well, and they're selling out all over the place.
Yeah, no, actually, funny story about that, which what took me so long to get home today was when I was doing my research earlier this afternoon, I found out that White Castle has an Impossible slider.
That's awesome.
So I was in the drive-thru at White Castle. And
you were going to go to White Castle first?
Yeah. Well, no, I got these first because I knew that we needed a big taste test, but I also wanted to see if you could tell which slider was which. So I went and I called them 3 hours ago and they had them and they sold out. I got to the drive-thru and he was like, "Oh, we're out of the Impossible sliders."
Wow. White Castle.
I'm so disappointed because I really,
White Castle.
Yeah, I can't say I've never driven through a White Castle drive-thru, but it's been a really long time.
I'm a huge fan of White Castle,
Yeah, so we just had this conversation the other day about White Castle, and I thought that was hilarious. So White Castle has Impossible sliders. Keystone in Cincinnati has the Impossible Burger. So does Red Robin and Burger King.
Yeah. And so we have the Impossible Burger and a regular burger.
Versus their regular burger.
Yeah, so we've cut them in half. We don't know which side is which. So we're gonna give you our first thoughts.
Yeah, so we're gonna taste them
because neither one of us have tried this yet.
No,
you haven't tried it.
No,
right?
I haven't.
Okay,
so I don't know what they taste like.
I don't even know if I've ever had a veggie burger in my life. So this is the first time I've had.
You never had a veggie burger?
Non-meat.
Yeah, I guess
burger.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Should we look at them first?
Well,
or should we just taste them?
We'll do
first?
The taste test later. I just kind of wanted to. Tell
so now you're not gonna let me taste.
No, we'll do that. We gotta hold them in suspense because that's what they came for.
Okay, fine, I guess.
So what's the educational piece of what we're talking about
The thing
today?
that I really wanted to chat about today, because it's been all over the news and all over social media, is the most recent declaration on, nutritional recommendations. So there is a group, a fairly new group, I think, they're Canadian? I think they're Canadian.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Nope,
well, I believe that it was a group from Canada who went through all of these research studies done on red meat consumption in regards to, health, cardiovascular disease, health conditions, health problems. They, I believe, analyzed a couple systematic reviews. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that they were actually looking at each individual study. I think that they just scanned the reviews.
Okay.
I could be wrong in saying that.
I don't know. I didn't look into the specifics of it.
But basically the recommendation that they gave with what they called weak support. So again, they made the recommendation, but they also said that, okay, well, this recommendation is made with weak support.
What recommendation?
I was about to say it.
Oh.
Give me a second.
Okay.
The recommendation was that for health, that people can just continue their normal consumption of both processed red meat and normal red meat.
Yeah. So essentially this whole idea that red meat is bad and that you need to avoid it and that you need to start decreasing your consumption in order to live longer and live a healthier life, they found that every single evidence piece from studies done and like Alexa said, the meta-analyses of these large groupings of studies that have looked at these correlations, at best, there was very weak evidence to them. And so there really was no grounds to make these statements of needing to...
What they declared was that there's weak evidence for their recommendation to continue red meat consumption.
Weak evidence to continue eating meat?
So basically, okay, so they judged the recommendations that they gave. So you have to put support behind a recommendation when you make a recommendation. So their recommendation was to continue your normal red meat consumption, but that recommendation that this group gave is weakly supported. But all of the stuff that you just said is also true. That when they were breaking down the systematic reviews, they were finding weak evidence to discontinue red meat consumption. So basically, at the end of the day, we don't know. That was the whole point, was that they can't confirm or deny whether it's bad to eat red meat.
No evidence to say that it was bad to eat red meat.
Exactly.
That's what I said.
Exactly.
So,
but we also can't say that it's good to eat for you. That was the other point, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Well, that's, not their point, but when you have a recommendation with weak support, that's kind of what you get from it.
Well, right. So, okay, now I understand what you're saying.
Do you see what I mean?
So up to this point, I don't think there's ever been a recommendation from the government to eat red meat.
No.
Never once. So what they looked at, because pretty much what all of these studies look into are the harmful, quote-unquote, effects of red meat. Mm-hmm. And so what they looked into was the validity of that statement.
Yes.
How valid is that statement that eating red meat is bad?
Yes.
And the evidence to support that was extremely weak.
Yes.
Is what that was saying. So it became like this firestorm on social media and all these people, and people in different areas of health and nutrition getting up in arms about it, because this whole idea of red meat being bad has just been shoved down everyone's throat for so long. And we know the background of it, and I think we've talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, you guys should know our opinion on red meat at this point. And if you don't...
As far as where the lipid hypothesis started and all of just the total misinformation and cherry picking to give us these recommendations of avoiding meat and avoiding saturated fats and things of that nature. And now, as these people have done a much more sweeping look at where those recommendations were coming from, they're finding just how little evidence there is to back up that claim that you need to avoid that, which I think is funny, because when you look at the actual composition of red meat, it's one of the most nutrient-dense foods there is.
Yeah.
Unquestionably. But it's just been in people's minds that there's this direct link to heart disease, and it just isn't founded in any actual evidence.
Well, and the more that we're digging through the research, the more we're finding that it doesn't so much seem to be an overconsumption of red meat is being the problem or the driver of a lot of these health conditions. It's the underconsumption of vegetables and plant foods, basically. Mm-hmm. So it's an underconsumption of things that are offering certain nutrients versus the overconsumption of red meat specifically.
And again, it's all correlative data. It's not, there's no X, Y equals Z controlled trials where they just have people eat red meat for 5 years and see what happens to their health. It's diet recall, and you'll have a survey of 10,000 people, and they're asked to record how often do you consume X food per week for the last 10 years. And that's what the multitude of nutritional information is based off of, and where the original kind of demonization of meats, eggs, red meat specifically came from was that type of data cherry-picked for specific countries that had a correlation of red meat consumption, or I don't even know if it was specifically red meat, maybe it was just meat in general, to heart disease. And that has been the foundation and backbone of the FDA and basic USDA guidelines since the 50s, when it kind of came into the limelight. And people have just been listening to it ever since.
Well, and we've talked about how you can't take every study at face value. So, I mean, there's so much bias in a lot of these studies where, people who eat more vegetables were the same people who reported eating less red meat because they felt like red meat was less healthy. So you have this bias, this inherent, what is it called? Do you know the exact term? There's a specific term for the bias. It's like something,
I'm not
the
sure.
Health bias, I don't know. Basically to say that the people who consumed more red meat also tended to not exercise as much. They smoked more, they ate less vegetables, they ate less fiber. So you couldn't really separate out meat consumption as the main difference. There were completely different groups of people.
Right. So they take all this information, they tease out 2 random variables.
Yeah.
We're going to look at occurrence of CVD in these people and how much red meat they claim they ate over a 20-year period, and then we're gonna put a graph together, and then suddenly we've got information. It's not quite how it works. I forget where I was.
Well, so again, that just comes back to the point that what we're starting to understand now is, again, it's not really the overconsumption of red meat. It's more the underconsumption of all of these other nutrient-dense foods, or the fact that people who historically have eaten less meat were doing so because they thought they were being healthier, and that they were also pursuing other healthy activities.
Yeah. Well, and what we know from working with clients on a day-to-day and weekly basis is half the time they don't remember what they ate last week. So
so food recall, we know, is always an issue.
We've been over this. So I think that kind of covers
so just in case anybody did see everything in the media, we just kind of wanted to comment on it and say that
people are starting to look into some actual real data and draw real conclusions instead of these popularized ones because they fit an agenda.
Yeah, well, it's one of the first times that a reputable group has come out to say anything even remotely positive about red meat. So it's interesting. Yeah. It's very interesting.
So how do we want to go about this?
I don't know. I mean, do we just pick a side? Do we look at both sides? Do we want to go by look first, or do we just want to try it? I don't know.
I mean, so we're gonna go with the same side. I think. All right, that color bun. I think we're on the.
No.
Or did I switch
wrong.
it?
You switched it.
Okay.
It was that.
It's the light. I got it.
So both of them are.
So are we gonna eat it at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
But which side should we eat? That was the question.
Let's go with the. All right. Well.
Do we want to look at? That's what I said. Do we want to look at them first?
Okay, we'll look at them after.
I don't know.
We'll look at them after. Let's go with the right side first.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Oh, my bun is a little.
Yeah. The bun's a little soggy.
A little soggy. I'm gonna pick off this tomato.
Okay.
Now you're gonna look at it?
It tastes like a burger. I mean, I can't really see. It's pretty dark in here.
Okay. Yeah, that tasted meaty.
I didn't really notice too much. Honestly, the burger itself, I don't know that it had a ton of flavor. It wasn't great. So
not the most flavorful burger
I've
ever had.
There was nothing that stood out to me as that not being beef.
Okay.
So let's try this one.
Okay.
I kind of want to talk so we don't just have chewing on the audio. Because that's kind of weird.
I mean, isn't that ASMR? Some people are into that.
That's what?
ASMR.
What is that?
Is that the right letters?
I don't even know what that is.
You know what that is? When people eat or like make weird noises, they do like whole YouTube videos on it.
I've never explored that part of YouTube.
What? There's a whole community.
Good to know.
Some people find it really relaxing or like stress relieving. I don't. I find it
stress
cringy.
Relieving?
No, that people watch it to like relax and calm down.
Okay.
I hate the sound of people chewing, so I don't like it.
Again, I mean, there wasn't a strong flavor to it. I think that there's so many toppings on this.
Well, I wanted to give it a fair shot between, like, can you actually tell the difference?
I think the texture was different on that one.
The texture was definitely different. I kind of feel like one of them has a weird sauce on it and one doesn't.
Oh, is it different?
I tried to get them to be the same, but I don't know. So I guess I'm going to look at them.
All right, so looking at the one we just ate is definitely the Impossible Burger.
Okay, yeah, that's for sure the Impossible Burger.
So honestly, eating it with all these toppings on it,
I kind of liked this one better though.
I don't know that I noticed a difference.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot going on with this burger. It definitely doesn't taste bad.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I would eat this.
Mm-hmm.
I would eat this without a problem.
No, I think I'm gonna try and take a bite of it without this bun on there. I just want to know what it tastes like alone.
You notice it now?
No, actually, it's surprisingly more meat-like.
All right, I'll try that.
Like, even look at it. I mean, it looks meaty.
It does.
Can you show the camera? Is it too far away? Can you, zoom in on this burger?
It looks... Yeah, I mean, it looks like a burger. It kind of looks like a sausage to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we can get a clear shot of that.
Honestly, to me, it doesn't even look like a sausage. It looks like meat. In this one. I mean, I don't know. I guess it does look a little different. It's, like, chunkier.
So on its own, it definitely has, like, a strange initial flavor. Like, it's a meaty flavor.
I think it tastes meaty.
It does.
That surprised me, actually. I was not expecting it to taste so meaty.
It does, but, like, in a strange way. I think it's kind of like... It gives me, like, a sausage feel.
Mm-hmm.
Sausage burger combination kind of thing. Now, if you had just brought this home and told me you got a couple different burgers... You wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I would have definitely never guessed that this wasn't beef. So in that sense, I mean, they've done a really good job being able to actually turn, soy into a beef flavor. Mm-hmm. And what does this one taste like without it?
I don't know.
And honestly,
mine's too stuck to the cheese.
This wasn't a great burger.
No, it really wasn't. I'm really disappointed. That's why I went to Keystone. Sorry to drag Keystone, but ugh. Not my favorite burger.
Yeah, it's just kind of dry.
Mm-hmm.
Not great.
Okay. Well, I feel like...
Yeah, so I'm actually impressed.
Yeah, I'm way more impressed. I thought that we would be able to tell right away.
Yeah,
and honestly I didn't.
I honestly wouldn't.
One thing I kind of did notice too was that, like, this burger is so light.
I mean, is it the same size patty?
Oh, I guess it does look smaller than this one.
Yeah, it's probably a lighter patty.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, no, I think dressed up, you wouldn't really know the difference.
No. But even
just
like
eating it on its own,
even alone, if somebody told me it was beef, I would believe them. I wouldn't say, "Oh my god, no, it's not."
Yeah, no.
I would think it was just like some different kind of.
I would think it's kind of like a strange, different beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not bad.
This is so interesting. I didn't expect it to taste like that.
I really didn't. So.
Okay.
I think there's a bright future for it if they can find a way to offer a more healthful version of it.
Sure, like we talked about quality wise. Like if they were able to do this with organic soy, and if they were, to take a deeper look at their other ingredients, I think that that's a pretty good offering.
Yeah, I mean it's not perfect. It's getting pretty close. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would definitely there are definitely much better burgers than this.
Sure.
But it's passable.
So question, because this burger is not great,
mm-hmm.
between the two right now, which one would you eat?
I still think I like the regular burger a little bit better.
Really? Yeah. I don't. I kind of like the Impossible Burger better.
It's not great, but like the Impossible Burger still has this kind of weird, like strong first taste to me.
Yeah.
Like I just, it hits me with something a little strange. But like beyond that initial taste, it just tastes and feels like a burger.
Yeah, I am actually very surprised. So I would say it still comes down to preference between the two. You're probably still getting some better nutrients in the real burger, like we talked about in the last episode. But if you are vegetarian or vegan,
yeah, I mean, if they could take this and turn it into a much better, especially macro-wise,
the
burger.
Macros weren't great.
So like that. So similar to like what you can get out of like 93% lean beef or even 96% lean beef, that would be a really solid. I mean, that would actually be awesome for my vegetarian clients who I can't eat enough protein.
Yeah.
Where I can just tell them to go get this kind of burger. Right now, the macros aren't ideal for that.
Yeah, the protein's not super high. It is still higher than a lot of other veggie burger options.
It's got a little bit, but you got a lot of other stuff coming alongside it.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, if they could optimize that, maybe tinker with the taste a little bit more, because I mean it's still a pretty new product. I was pretty good.
Yeah, pleasantly surprised.
Any final thoughts?
No, I think that about sums it up. But again, Real burger is probably still better for you.
Definitely still better for you right now.
And
There's
the
no
real
question.
burger was cheaper, but I'm actually surprised at how closely this resembles real beef.
I think in like 5-10 years, it'll be interesting to see where this is at.
Yeah.
It's definitely not an overnight thing, but I think it has a chance. So,
agreed.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed if you stuck with us this far. And if you did stick with us this far, you can vote below whether or not we should turn this into a complete food tasting channel.
Do some taste testing.
And just do that and then talk about our experiences with it. But yeah, I hope you guys
probably
enjoyed.
Do it at some point
We
again
probably
anyway,
will.
regardless
we'll find
of
something
your
I
opinion.
think next time is episode 50, so we might need each
nice.
This is 49. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you have anything you'd like us to cover in the future, feel free to reach out to myself at HypertroFit.com. You can find Alexa at therootedrd.com, and we'll see you guys again next week.
We'll see you guys next week. Oh, I'm so greasy.
Yeah, I know.